Hello, hello, hello. Good morning and welcome to episode 17 of the Unspoken Rules podcast. I'm your host, Sebastian, aka Rabbit, and I'm joined by the one and only Mr. Blake Spillers. Good morning, brother. How are we doing today?
Good morning. Great. Thanks for asking.
Unfortunately, Montana will not be joining us today because he had to work a very early morning shift, but it is what it is. We got a few topics to discuss today, starting with Rick Carlisle resigning. Then we're going to obviously break down the very interesting Game 6 last night. Of course, previewing the two games that happened or that are going to happen tonight. And some breaking news right before this episode started. Kemba just got traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder for Al Horford, and we'll get into the other information from that trade just in a little bit. But to get started and right into it, we're going to read, or I'm going to read Rick Carlisle's statement. I don't know if you read it. Let me pull it up so we can all see. So Rick Carlisle sent this to ESPN, I guess. After a number of in-person conversations with Mark Cuban over the last week, today I informed him that I will not be returning as head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. This was solely my decision. My family and I have had an amazing 13-year experience working with great people in a great city. It has been an honor to work alongside Mark, Sid, Donnie, Finn, Keith, Dirk, Jake Kidd, and every player and assistant coach I've ever had here. Dallas will always be home, but I am excited about the next chapter of my coaching career. Now, a question to you that I want to ask is, we've heard a lot between, Rick Carlisle and the players. There was some tension between him and Luka apparently towards the end of, his little tenure because of how that offense was ran. Do you think this helps Dallas in the sense of attracting more role players, or even like that beef that him and Porzingis had? Does Porzingis get happy now with this new coach? You know what I'm saying? Like with Carlisle leaving, and in general, are their fans much more excited due to a new chapter, I guess, per se? And a quick follow-up, where do you think he best fits as he moves on into his next chapter?
Okay, well, to answer the first question, I think even if he hadn't left right now, his time was coming to an end. Like you said, there was definitely some tension coming around the players. The players did not like his strict rotations. He only played a few players off the bench, and he played them in pretty much the same times during the games. Some of the players didn't like how his offense was running, especially Porzingis. But I don't want to put it all on Rick Carlisle, because Porzingis was just sitting out the three-point line and didn't want to drive anyways. Will a new coach fix Dallas's problems? I'm not sure, because Rick Carlisle is a great coach. I mean, he won a championship. He's been with the Mavericks for 13 years, and he's been with them for a reason. He knows how to get the most out of his players. But I guess to answer, it just depends on who they hire. Hearing a lot of talks that Luka thinks that their assistant coach is good enough to be the head coach, and he likes him a lot. They have a good relationship, so we'll see where that goes. But, I mean, this could just be a scapegoat. We're going to find out next year whether a new coach is the fix for Dallas, or if Dallas just needs new players, if Dallas needs something new going. I don't know how much Rick Carlisle and Luka didn't like each other, because obviously the last week we've been getting more heat coming from that situation, and I thought Rick Carlisle was going to be gone after next year, but I thought he would be there next year. So seeing him leave, it just seems as though he likes some other situation. So that kind of gets into your next question. Where will he land? I think the Blazers are the perfect team for him. We were talking about Becky Hammon for the Blazers, but I think the Blazers need a coach that's a veteran who has championship experience and knows how to win now. And I think Rick Carlisle might be the perfect fit for the Blazers. He's been there before. He can change up. He might be able to change a few things up with that team. And he's, like I said, he's always been known to get the most out of his players. Maybe that's what the Blazers need. They definitely they fired Terry Stotts because they needed someone to get them over the hump. And will that be Rick Carlisle? I think that's a good answer. I think he could be the answer for the Blazers.
I'm going to keep it like 1,000% with you. I didn't even think about him being a potential candidate for the Blazers, but that brings a really good point. In that sense of that question, yesterday, once this like announcement came about, a lot of Heat beat writers were talking about how Rick Carlisle would be a great fit in Boston. And I feel like that would be a solid fit in the sense of, like you said, he gets everything out of his players. The problem is Like, I was expecting Kemba to be there. So that's something we'll talk about in a little bit. So it's like, yes, you're going to get, if he does go to Boston, you're going to get obviously your regular productive minutes and time from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. The problem is, what are you going to do with the rest of the supporting cast? Because we've been heard that Marcus Smart is going to get traded. You know what I'm saying? Or that they're going to use him as assets to move and try and get more pieces to the squad. They just traded Kemba away. So it's like, what are they going to do with the rest of that team? What is the plan for that? So I think as a developed organization and a developed team in the sense of they don't plan on making any moves right now, I can agree with the whole Portland move to get them over that hump that they've been in for God knows how many years.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6 years. Yeah.
Yeah. But with the whole Porzingis thing, I think Carlisle said in many pressers that he sat Porzingis down and that Porzingis understood his role, and that was just to sit on the 3-point line, and that was to just, let the offense entirely just run through Luka. And I don't feel like that's Porzingis' I don't think that's his play style. We didn't see that. We didn't really see much of that in New York. You know what I'm saying? Like, we saw this man just go post, little freaking, you know what I'm saying? Shimmy, shimmy, you know what I mean? So, like, to see him just sit on the corner or, like, the wing and just, like, not really be that productive and then rely heavily on Luka, like, I feel like Dallas's aspect, this is going to be a great move. Well, I guess Carlisle, you know what I'm saying? Dallas getting this, having this problem, quote unquote, resolved is taken care of. Now it's just a matter of getting, like, I think a few more pieces. It doesn't even need to be superstars. Just like, I don't know, bro. They just need a few more shooters because Luka can't do it by himself. He can't. And so,
go ahead. I was going to say, we'll see if this change actually is the fix for Porzingis, because for me, I haven't seen Porzingis play like the old Porzingis since the injuries. I haven't seen him drive or play in the post since he's been continuously getting injured. And I always just saw it as maybe he's afraid to re-injure himself, and that's why he's sitting at the 3-point line. It's always easy to blame the coach and the scheme for Porzingis playing that way. But when Porzingis first got to Dallas before he got injured, he played just as aggressive as he did in New York, in my opinion. That's when Dallas was at their best. That's when they were going through streaks. Porzingis was always the thing that's either going to hold them back or take them to the next level, because he is that 7-foot player that can shoot the three, that can drive, that is just, he's a good scorer, but we haven't seen that of recently. Like you said, we see him just sitting at the 3-point line, letting Luka run the offense, and that's just not how it should work. I just don't understand how him and Luka, when they first got paired up, I was like, wow, that's going to be a lethal pick and roll team, because both of them can pop, both of them can drive. I mean, but we just didn't see too much of that, mainly because Porzingis has been on and off the court, and when he's been on the court, like you said, he's just been sitting at that 3-point line. I'm hoping he returns to form, because I've been a fan of Porzingis for a while. I've always thought he's had a lot of potential. Injuries have sadly taken a lot of games away from his career, but with a new coach, we'll see what happens with him.
No, 1,000%. Yeah, you literally said everything that I could have even thought of to say. So with that, we're going to move on. The breaking news that I was very shocked about, which let me bring it up on the screen. Ignore the little memes, I apologize. But the Celtics are trading Kemba Walker, the number 16th overall pick in the 2021 draft, and a 2025 second-round draft pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder for Al Horford, Moses Brown, and a 2023 second-round pick. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, the first thing that popped into my head was, wow, the Celtics got fleeced. I mean, they gave up the better player, they gave up the better draft pick, and they're getting Al Horford, Moses Brown, and a second-round pick. But then it got me thinking, like, all right, well, what are the Celtics planning here? They're saving $73 million with the move. And they're probably going to sign and release Al Horford, buy him out to some small amount. So they're going to save a little bit more money there. So who are they trying to get is the question. Ever since the Celtics have been eliminated, I've been saying that they've been looking for big men. But I don't know what elite big man that they are looking for. Maybe they look to trade for someone. I'm not sure. But I would definitely keep an eye on the Celtics looking for that, maybe that next piece to fit next to Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I think those two are the only untouchables on this Celtics team right now. Like you said earlier, they've been talking about Marcus Smart getting traded. Before this Kemba trade, we've been saying that he was supposed to get traded too. The thing is, do the Celtics just blow this entire team up? and do we look at a new look Celtics team next year? I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now that Danny Ainge is out of the president of basketball operations, and it's now their former coach in Brad Stevens, it'll be interesting to see who they hire. And I think who they hire will show what the Celtics are trying to do. If they hire like you said, Rick Carlisle would be a perfect fit for them as well. I said Portland, but the Celtics are in a similar situation.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to get over the hump. If the Celtics are weird, though. The Celtics are coming off of a couple years in a row being a top 4 seed in the East, and then this past year, injuries kind of affected their season a lot, so they didn't finish as high. They were only a 7 seed. But I still think with the talent of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum alone, they can go places if they get the right team around them. And that's just a question. I'm not sure who the Celtics are looking at, but it's got to be some big name player. That's the only reason I can think of for trading Kemba and a first and a second for Al Horford, who's old and probably hasn't been playing much, Moses Brown, and a second-round pick. That's the only thing I can think of.
No, 100%. Here's my thing, though. Like Al Horford, like you said, he's probably going to get, bought out. Moses Brown has potential. Like, the man has been hooping. We've seen games and sparks from him and, like, his double-doubles. I think there was, like, 4 or 5 games this season or this past season that he freaking – I think he had, like, 20-20 or, like, 15-20. Like, he's pulling, like, some Drummond-esque numbers. And so to see that potential from him, there might be that rebounder. There might be that big man. He may not be elite, but to develop him, he's a young player. You know what I'm saying? So develop him and run and go young. You know what I'm saying? Not in an entirely sense of a big rebuild, but focus more so on maybe getting that 2, like a goated 2 or a goated PG, whatever the case may be, rather than going after an elite big. Because honestly, if we look at this market, I was looking this morning once this trade was announced. Honestly, like the only really, like, I guess, quote unquote, like elite, and he's not even that elite, but the best big man that's available is going to be Cody Zeller. Do you bring Cody Zeller to this team?
No,
I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? So it's either Cody Zeller, Serge Ibaka, who has a player option, or Daniel Tice. Do you really want Daniel Tice back on this squad? And do you even think he's going to leave Chicago?
No,
I don't think so. So it's a toss-up in the sense of those, like, if we're going to look at an elite big, do they make a trade maybe with Marcus Smart? Do they bring back Evan Fournier on like a little deal to then trade him as an asset? I don't know what their plan is, but as this is Brad Stevens' first move in his new position, I feel like Brad Stevens should know more than anybody else about this roster and what needs to be fixed and what needs to be, you know what I'm saying? So credit to Brad Stevens. I was not expecting this. I don't know. Like, I totally get the Kemba move because of that contract, but I don't like that 16 overall pick being traded, especially because I like this draft class. I feel like this draft class is very deep. Now, I don't think a lot of people understand that, but I think this draft class is really deep in the sense of talent. I'm not a big fan of that. I guess it kind of like meshes with the whole Moses Brown thing because he's young. But again, I don't know. I'm cool with Kemba because you said $73 million. That's fine. But that draft pick just pisses me off a little bit, to be honest with you, at least for them. And that's coming from a Heat fan. So, you know what I'm saying?
No,
but
yeah, I think the draft pick just shows that they're trying to win now.
Yeah,
they don't
exactly.
trade that draft pick if they're looking into the future, trying to build, because the Celtics have had, they still do have a bunch of draft picks in the next coming years.
Yeah.
Those trades that they've made over the last 5 years have been building up draft picks. So I wouldn't be surprised if they look to get an elite two-way player. We've got a couple of players like Kawhi Leonard that could be hitting the market. They may not, but there are a bunch of players like that could be hitting the market. And I'm a firm believer when the team gets a new front office, you've got to trust that front office until they prove to you that you shouldn't trust them. This is Brad Stevens' first move. As a Celtics fan, you've got to trust him. You've got to trust this move. Like I said, anytime you get a new front office, there's no reason for you to be hating on the moves that they are making if they're their first moves. So as I'm not a Celtics fan, but for Celtics fans out there, trust the process. And Brad Stevens is a genius, in my opinion. He's a great coach. He's a great basketball mind. And like you said, he's been the coach of this team. He knows what this team needs to fix. He knows what this team needs to take that next step. And I think this is just part one of his process. And I think it's going to be a long process. I think there's going to be a lot of moving pieces here before we can actually see what the Celtics are, what their long-term plan is. Hey, I can't hear you, Sebastian. I don't know if.
Oh, I'm muted. I'm so sorry. I couldn't agree more. My apologies. That's funny. But if you got nothing else to say other than that, I think we're going to move on and advance our time to this next game. All right. So the only game last night, of course, I think we all know, is the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks. Let me just provide this for you guys. So, as you can see, 89-104 Milwaukee Bucks with a beautiful win, as Blake called it last night, or yesterday's episode. It's very unfortunate. I'm not going to say too much because I want Blake to just go crazy, you know what I'm saying, and prove to me in his words as to why I'm an idiot. But as you can see, KD didn't have the sharpest of games. Yes, he dropped 32, but he didn't shoot the ball very well. We saw James Harden was very banged up. Like, that man just doesn't look healthy. It's very unfortunate. Blake Griffin, I guess, did his thing. Jeff Green, went back to real life for a little bit. They got no help in the sense of Brooklyn. Their supporting cast. I guess we could say congratulations, Joe Harris. 4 for 9, better than he has been. You know what I'm saying? So,
facts. His stat is best shooting performance.
Great. I think so. So great job by that. But I'll let Blake get into it. He mentioned it in our group chat last night. The big three stepped up, and the big three provided for what they needed to in the Milwaukee's aspect. Now, Drew Holiday did shoot horrible, but he still had 21 points and was a huge factor in that team, offensively and defensively. And obviously, we can, we'll shout out PJ Tucker, but take it away, boss man.
No, yeah. Like you mentioned, I was the only one that picked the Bucks to win out of us three in last episode. Mm-hmm. But getting away from that, you said that Kevin Durant shot 50% last night. I mean, that's a good shooting performance. I mean, if you're shooting 50%, I'm not going to ask for much more. That's a good shooting performance. The problem was, where is Kevin Durant's help? I mean, James Harden had an all right night with 16 points. And that was kind of what I called. I said he was going to have around 15 to 20 points. I didn't expect him to do too much. So I don't discredit James Harden for that. He's coming off an injury. This is exactly what I expected. But Kevin Durant's getting no help out there. I mean, there's a reason they're losing this game. And it's not because Giannis was guarding Kevin Durant. Yes, it might have slowed down Kevin Durant a little bit. But I'm sorry, when you scored 32 points shooting 50%, I really can't credit the defense too much there. But the Bucks are maybe the best home team in all of the NBA right now. The Bucks play so much better at home. That home crowd's energy, I mean, it just helps feed into the Bucks' energy. The Bucks just play with more confidence, with more energy when they're playing at home than they do on the road. And this was obviously, other than the fact that they were it was a must win, you have to win your games at home and in a playoff series, especially against a tough team like the Nets. And the Bucks took care of business at home. Middleton had a huge game, 38 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Giannis had 30 points and 17 rebounds. And like you already mentioned, Drew Holiday didn't have the greatest shooting performance, but he does his thing on the defensive end. I saw him have multiple steals last night. He had 8 rebounds. He had 5 assists. Good game. But like I said, when are we going to see the Nets role players step up? I still think the Nets win this series in 7 because I just have more trust in Kevin Durant than I do with that entire Bucks lineup. Because for me, Kevin Durant's been about the only consistent thing in the playoffs so far, or in this round at least, between the Bucks and the Nets. Because other than Kevin Durant, I feel like everyone else is just having either really good games or really bad games, and that's the problem. The inconsistency in this series has blown my mind. We're just not seeing either team play back-to-back games well since maybe the first 2 games in the series when the Nets blew out the Bucks. That was the only time we've seen consistent play from the Nets role players. But I think in Game 7 in Brooklyn, I'm expecting huge games from James Harden and Kevin Durant. I wouldn't be surprised if they both Kevin Durant's definitely going to score 30 plus. There's no doubt in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna have that Mamba mentality. He's going to go out there and shoot the ball 40 times if he needs to. This is a game 5. Like I said, I said Kevin Durant needs a 50-point game to win. He needs to go crazy. He had 49 in that game, and I'm expecting the same thing. And I think between James Harden and Kevin Durant, they're going to score 75 to 80% of their points in the next game. And that's just because looking at the role players, if I'm James Harden and Kevin Durant, I talk to each other and I say, guess what? We're not getting any help from people we thought we would. We were expecting Joe Harris to play a great series. We were expecting Blake Griffin to do a little more. Jeff Green had that great game, but other than that, he hasn't played that well. They were expecting the bench to do something. But now, since they haven't gotten it all series, if I'm Kevin Durant, I talk to James Harden and say, guess what? Me and you are going to run the show. We're going to shoot every shot. We are the bucket getters on this team. We have the potential to score 40 each. And I think that's what they're going to go out there and do. And I think that's their only chance of beating the Bucks. I think the Bucks have the more complete team right now, especially without Kyrie Irving. I mean, the Bucks between their big 3 is better than the Nets' big 3 right now. And that's just because who do you throw in there other than Kevin Durant and a banged up James Harden? Their next best player, Blake Griffin. Come on now. I mean, it's a joke. And if the Nets role players don't step up, it could be a game 7 loss for them. And the only reason I think that I'm picking the Nets to win in game 7 is because 1, they're at home, and 2, because I don't want to bet. I would never bet against Kevin Durant at home in a playoff series when it's all on the line, win or go home. Because if it's between him and Giannis, Kevin Durant has 2 finals MVPs. Giannis is known for losing in the playoffs. Whether that's fair on Giannis or not, it's just the facts. And if this is we talked about legacy in the last episode. Between Giannis and Kevin Durant, this could change their careers. If Kevin Durant loses this series, who knows if he ever gets there again? Who knows what the media will rip him apart, like I said in the last episode. This could affect him from never being mentioned as a top 10 player of all time. For Giannis, this could finally get him over the hump of being a top player, not only in the regular season, but also in the playoffs, proving that he can win those big games. He can be the number 1 player on a team and take them to the next level. Will that happen? I'm not sure. I mean, doing this on the road in game 7 is never easy. And for me, I think that, like I said earlier, I think the Nets advance. But Sebastian, I'll let you take over from there.
So, in the sense of, the Nets, at least this series, one little note is, they averaged 89 points on the road, at least in Milwaukee. And is that credit to Milwaukee? I guess, you know what I'm saying? Sure, we'll give it to them. But at the same time, even though Kevin Durant went 15 for 30 and was 50%, I still think that's a poor shooting night for Kevin Durant in the sense of they lost the game. I think we've seen Kevin Durant, when they wanted to win and when they did win, shoot over at least 65. So, I mean, yes, you're right. He didn't get help from anybody. It is what it is at that point. But I still think Kevin Durant could have shot the ball just a little bit better, especially going 2 for 8 from 3. I mean, I don't like that percentage, but, I mean, it is what it is. Moving on, though, a quick stat or a couple stats. They lost the rebounding, that rebounding game, 51-39. I don't know who we're going to fault there, but whatever. That's 1. 2, points. They had, the Bucks had 15 turnovers and the Nets had 16. The Bucks scored 20 points off of turnovers, though. And the Nets only scored 8. That's another problem. On the last and final problem that I'm going to mention, 26-4 in fast break points. I don't know what is going on. Do they just suck ass on the road? Were they just, are they really missing Kyrie? Is this team, like I mentioned like a couple podcasts ago, we rely on our big 3 being healthy. This team was made around our big 3 being healthy, because clearly, like at this point it is. Joe Harris isn't doing anything to produce. Jeff Green didn't do anything, but then again, I was on his coattail last game. And then Bruce Brown disappeared to Uganda. What's his freaking name? Shamit went to, everybody's just gone. Ain't nobody doing anything to provide for this team to help Kevin Durant and James Harden. James Harden can only do he can only do so much on one leg. What else do you expect James Harden to do? You know what I'm saying? The man is literally on one leg trying to compete to get freaking to an Eastern Conference Finals and to go get a freaking ring. You know what I'm saying? But the man can only do so much on one foot. KD can only do so much with nobody else helping him. Like you said, their third best player is pretty much Blake Griffin. So it's like it's very unfortunate with Kyrie going down. Obviously, we know that he's not coming back this series. So I expect big games next game. I just don't know, man. I do have to credit the Bucks, though, not only defensively, but offensively, at least from Jrue Holiday. Even though he shot horrible, still managed to get that 21 points to provide for this team. Giannis doing his thing with 30. Chris Middleton, as always, is just a dog. But I don't know, man. My thing is I still don't like the Bucks, and it's like it's the coaching situations, bro. There's some ugly decision making by Budenholzer, but I just don't know. Like, I don't know, bro. I don't know how to explain my frustration. I guess they credit to them though because they did win by beautiful fashion, but still, there's some questionable calls that, like, if the Nets could have just done a little bit better offensively when it comes to KD having 7 turnovers, James Harden having 4, like their star players had an immense like impact in the sense of turning the ball over and folding on the team in that sense, right? Offensively, they did their thing, but like you can't turn that ball over right there, bro. There's so many sloppy plays that happen. KD tried to hit freaking Joe Harris on off of a pick and roll. Like the hell are you hitting Joe, bro? I'm not even gonna get into it, but. Hopefully, I got Nets in 7. You know what I mean? I had them in 6. Hopefully, they win. At home, they're averaging 118 points per game. Now, are we going to see that? God bless and God knows. We'll see, you know what I'm saying? But I'm hoping because, I got mad love for KD that they can pull it together and move on. And I also hate the Bucks. So, I mean, I think I can, So, at the end of the day, I hope the Nets pull through. I hope they come through and destroy the hell out of these Bucks because I absolutely hate the Bucks.
No, yeah, I think you mentioned 2 things I forgot to mention that were perfect: the turnover difference and the fast break difference.
Yeah,
that is the number one thing. I think fast break points is what the Nets need to focus on because that's how you can get your role players into getting easy buckets. Because right now you're seeing that their role players just are not good at scoring in half-court sets. So what do you need to do to adjust to that? Get them going fast, get them on the break, get them easy looks, easy layups. And if they're hitting them, good. And if they're not, well, that is tough, but that's the easiest way to get someone going. Get them on the fast break, get them open looks and hope, and they should do their thing. They're an NBA player, but the Nets just aren't doing that. I think you said they had 5 fast break points. That's a joke. You cannot have 5 fast break points on the road and expect to win. I mean, it's just not going to happen. And when your 2 superstars combine for 11 turnovers, that also cannot happen. If you're losing the fast break margin and the turnover margin, you're not going to win. It's just not going to happen, especially when you're shooting 25 to 30% from 3. That's also abysmal, especially from a team what's supposed to be full of 3-point shooters. I mean, Landry Shamet's supposed to be a 3-point shooter. Joe Harris, Kevin Durant, and James Harden, but yet you're shooting 30%. I mean, it's just – you're shooting below league average. If they continue, they just, like I said, the Nets have the superstars on their team. The rest of the players just need to play average. They don't need to do anything crazy. They just need to play average. And they're just not getting that. Kevin Durant, his back hurts. He doesn't have a back injury, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has one after this series because, good Lord, he's the only one scoring. I mean, when he had 49, he had his almost 50% of his team's points. Last night, he had 32, almost had 50% of his team's points. It's a joke. He needs help. James Harden is doing as much as he can. Like you said, he's playing on one leg out there. I give the man credit. He's playing 40 minutes out there. He's guarding Giannis on a lot of possessions. He's hustling. He's doing a lot. And for only playing on one leg, it's amazing. But I expect, like I said earlier, James Harden is going to go off in this next game. Him and KD are going to score 35 plus each, and I think that's their only chance of winning. Because if they don't both at least score 30 each, I don't think they have any chance of winning this next game. I think if Kevin Durant or James Harden has an off game, the Bucks are going to win by 15 plus. Even though it's on the road, the Bucks play way worse on the road. They don't have the crowd buying into their energy. the Nets better come out for the Barclays Center. They better come out. They better show why they're the favorite to win the championship. Everyone had the Nets winning it all. You included, Montana included. I was the only one that didn't think the Nets were going to win. But that doesn't mean that I didn't pick the Nets to win, but that didn't mean that deep down I didn't think they were going to win. I had Philly coming out of the East, and obviously that's not going to happen. Oh, we're going to get into that in a bit. But yeah, I think Nets win in 7 just based on the superstars that they have on their team, whether James Harden's playing on one leg or not. I'm going to trust those two to get it done for their own sake, because if they don't get it done, I don't know what happens to this team next year.
No, 100%. I just want to toss in a little shade and just, I guess not roast, but what's good, Giannis? What's up, bro? You don't want to guard KD all game, but you want to wait until the fourth quarter, and he still got buckets on your ass? Listen, man, you want to be Mr. Former Defensive Player of the Year, take that junk away from Bam Adebayo. You know what I mean? You better step up. You better come out the gate, freaking game 7, and guard his ass. That man better not have 30-something if you want to win. Yeah, sure, you guys got the win last night, but you got lucky. This man had no help. That ain't going to happen game 7. At freaking on the road for you guys, at home for them. I'm telling you, man. Better come out the gate, guard this man. I know you ain't listening, but you know what I'm saying? I have to call him out. Ugly ass jit talking.
I tried to tell you last game that Giannis, this is just a sideshow. I told you Giannis is not going to – it's a different –
He's a pansy, bro. He's a pansy, man.
All right. Moving on to the next game, though.
Let me stop. No, I got love. I got much love for Giannis. I'm just trolling. All right, little quick break. Montana loves doing these. If you guys haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube if you're watching YouTube, whether it's like the video right now, or if you're in the stream right now, subscribe to the YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, drop a little follow, drop a rate, a review. We truly appreciate it. Feel free to follow all of our social medias at Unspoken Rules on everything. Minus Twitter, it's Unspoken Rule Pod. But yeah, DM us if you have any feedback to provide, or comment under a tweet or an Instagram post, whatever the case may be. We would truly appreciate any sort of feedback as we slowly but surely develop more and more, our character, our personality, as well as our chemistry among all three of us. Obviously, Montana isn't here again, but he has to work. There's other things that we have to do in life. But yeah, other than that, I don't know if you want to say anything, Blake, on that part, but we will move on to the next game. And so first game of the night tonight will be, in fact, the Philadelphia 76ers taking on the Atlanta Hawks. I got one question and one question only, and then I'm going to make a little statement. Do you think both number 1 seeds get knocked tonight? You can answer that now, and then I'll discuss something else. Go ahead.
I'm going to put it this way. I think the winner of the series in both series wins tonight. So whether that's the Jazz winning and forcing a game 7, I think if the Jazz win tonight, they win in game 7. I think if the 76ers win tonight, they also win in game 7. I think the Clippers and Hawks need to close it at home. It's just a must. It's so much harder to close a series on the road. Everyone knows that. This isn't some crazy fact that I'm spitting out. The Clippers and the Hawks need to find a way to win at home tonight. They need to throw everything they have in the games tonight, because if they don't, like you said, we could see both number 1 seeds going home tonight. Or no, I'm sorry. We could see both number 1 seeds winning tonight. But yes, if the Hawks and Clippers don't win tonight, I think they both lose in game 7, because obviously the Clippers are playing at home. They don't have Kawhi probably for the rest of the series. It doesn't look like. I haven't seen any news showing that he's going to play tonight, which means he's probably not going to play in game 7. But who knows? I didn't think James Harden was going to play in that first game, and he ended up playing. So crazier things have happened. But I think that this is must wins for the Hawks and for the Clippers. And I think they get it done. I truly do. I think if the team with the bigger chance to lose is the Hawks tonight, I like the Clippers a lot to win tonight. I think they close out the Jazz. I think we have another big game from PG. Marcus Morris has had a great series. He is proving to be a tremendous player for this Clippers team, not only offensively, but defensively. He's guarding anyone who's assigned to him, and he's giving it a hard time for that guy to score. I think the Clippers win because they're in LA tonight. They got to show out. They got to show, hey, guess what? The Lakers aren't the only joint in this stadium. They're not the only team out here. We're going to win a ring for LA, and LA is going to have back-to-back rings this year. That's my prediction. I'm saying Clippers are going to win this series. Kawhi's going to come back against the Suns. And if Kawhi doesn't, if he can't.
No, he can't.
All right. Well, since
we're hearing from Skip Bayless's side, who's very close to Kawhi Leonard's people, that it's significant damage in his ACL and his knee area, so it's going to be required some surgery.
No, I saw that, but I'm not going to trust Skip Bayless.
Bro,
it's Skip.
How
Bayless.
Are you not going to trust Skip Bayless? The man gets autographed, like signed jerseys and shoes from Kawhi Leonard.
Skip Bayless also tweeted out a meme account thinking that James Harden was crying in practice.
Yeah. Listen, but Skip Bayless is a troll on the internet to get the views and the clicks to watch the shows. Everything he says on the shows is damn near facts.
Nah,
I mean,
he's a clown. Skip Bayless is the biggest clown in all of sports broadcasting, and that's just a fact. But anyways, if Kawhi doesn't play, I still think the Clippers. Well, he's not playing tonight. I obviously already know that, but I think the Clippers come out with the same intensity they have the last 3 games, and I think they put them away. I mean, the Clippers have found something in that small ball lineup, and unless the Jazz have an adjustment, which they're not going to, because like you guys said earlier, I made the suggestion that they might have to think about sitting Rudy Gobert. You and Montana both agree that there's probably no chance it happens, and I agree. I don't think the Jazz sit their defensive player of the year, but I think they really need to think about it because he is getting exposed out there, and it's not necessarily his fault. He was never known to be able to guard the 1 through 3 position. He's a 7-foot, lengthy guy. He's a good rim protector. I mean, he won the defensive player of the year, whether you like that or not, but he's just getting exposed out there. And unless they have an adjustment for it, I think they lose again tonight because the last 3 games have shown that Quinn Snyder is stubborn. He has not changed their offense. He has not changed their defense. He hasn't been changing the rotations. He's been keeping the same things happening. And I think it's going to bite them in the back of the butt because guess what? The playoffs is all about adjustments. When you give a team an extended amount of time to be able to look at someone's offense, to look at someone's defense, they can catch on. And that's what the Clippers have done. The Clippers took those first 2 series. They watched that film. They studied it. And guess what? They made the right adjustments, and which is why they've won 3 games in a row, and which is why I think they win the next 4 or the last one to make it 4 in a row. But getting back to that first game, the 76ers versus the Hawks, I think the Hawks have to, like I said, throw everything they've got in this game. They've got to win in the A. They got to win for their fans. They got to show that, guess what? Atlanta's not all about choking. You said it last episode. Atlanta got they got a sigh of relief. For the first time ever in Atlanta sports history, they came back instead of blowing a big lead. Now, I'm hoping that this doesn't result in a jinx and that they don't blow this 3-2 lead and that Philly doesn't win in 7, but it could happen, which is why the Hawks have to close out in Game 6. They just have to do it at home. Sebastian?
So with the Hawks 76ers series, I think we're just seeing the Doc little like factor of everything. The man's blown at least 5 or 6 in the last 2+ years, or maybe even like longer, like leads higher than 15+. So I think the fact that Atlanta's gotten 2 straight back-to-back games of comeback wins, and tonight they're playing not only at home, but in their little wonderful MLK jerseys, I think they're going to just go crazy. I think they're closing out tonight. I think they do, in fact, win. I don't like the 76ers, as I think everybody knows. Shout out that rant yesterday. I don't like Joel Embiid. I don't like actually, I do like Joel Embiid. I would love him in Miami. But I don't like Ben Simmons. He's ass. I don't like Tobias. Clearly, he's inconsistent. I used to like him. He was a bucket getter. But after his performance last game, I don't like it, bro. I don't know how you just come out, go 2 for 11, and think you're still like freaking amazing. I don't like that. But it is what it is. I got the Hawks winning tonight. I would love for the 76ers to lose because, Joel Embiid coming to Miami. Shout out. But, I mean, look, that's pretty much all I got on that series. You know what I'm saying? I want the Hawks to win. I had them in 6. I think I called that, after game 1. Obviously, it would be nice if I can get this at least right since the Nets want to go to 7. You know what I mean? And even though I called the Suns one in 6, they still won in 4. So I'm giving myself that nod. You know what I'm saying? So I'm giving myself that nod. Now, for the next game, the final one of the night, the Jazz Clippers, like I mentioned yesterday, I want these Clippers to lose, and I want them to go out. I wanted them to go out round one so that Kawhi can just be like, look, bro, PG, you suck ass. This squad sucks ass. Ty Lue, you suck ass. I just want to go to Miami and win some trips. You know what I'm saying? That's why I wanted him out, and that's why I had Dallas winning that series. Now we're out here, second round again. You know what I'm saying? In a predicament or a situation where Kawhi's not playing, and these Clippers are about to close out. I'm gonna need my boys in Utah to step up, bro. You know what I'm saying? D Wade bought some ownership over there. So what's up, D Wade? You were there for the first couple games, D Wade. You know what I'm saying? You were coaching this man, D Mitch, D Wade. What's up now? I'm gonna need you to come back out there and coach this man again. I don't give a damn about your TV show, The Box, or whatever it's called. Get the head out of your ass and let's go and get some games in. You know what I'm saying? Let's sit courtside. Let's talk to D Mitch. I don't even care if D Mitch is on one leg, bro. I know he's banged up with his little ankle injury. I don't care. Get in this damn dude's ear, even though it's at what? Where is it at? It's in Staples, right? So pull up. You literally live in LA. Listen. You live in LA, bro. Pull up to this damn game. Show love to the man. You know what I'm saying? Get in D Mitch's ear. Say, yo, get in your Duffy. I love you. Lock in. You know what I mean? Let me see that D Mitch performance again tonight. Let me get the supporting cast to do a little bit. Not a crazy much, just a little bit. Bojan doesn't got to go for 30. Just go for a light 20, 25. You know what I'm saying? Jordan Clarkson goes for his usual 24. We haven't seen that in, last game, very sluggish. Very, very sluggish. And the game before that, very sluggish. That's beside the point. Listen, D. Mitch hoops. He gets the production from everybody else. I think they win tonight. I'm praying to God they win in 7. You know what I'm saying? Just for the simple fact that Kawhi needs to leave the Clippers. Kawhi. I know you don't listen to anything social media wise. I know you don't got no social media. But Kawhi, for the love of God, bro, just leave the Clippers, bro. Come to Miami and save this organization, bro. You know what I'm saying? You save the Raptors organization. You know what I'm saying? Come save our organization. You know what I'm saying? Like Jimmy Butler folded for us. You know what I'm saying? Folded on us. Our squad is not the same because we let Jay Crowder go. Just come bring your freaking robot head ass over to the damn Miami Heat, and I love you forever. You know what I'm saying? So just lose. Look. The Clippers just lose, bro. Just lose because at the end of the day, your organization is not going to come out and win a ring. Even, you know what I'm saying? Even this year, bro. You're going to lose to the Suns in the Western Conference Finals. We all know that. You know what I'm saying? You don't know that, Blake, which is not a big deal. You know what I'm saying? You like the Clippers and whatnot. I got the Suns winning out the West. You know what I'm saying? Just Kawhi, come home. All right, that's all I got to say. Kawhi, come home. And that's pretty much all I really got on that. You know what I'm saying? Realistically, though, PG's been going crazy. PG, like in the comment section, we just saw PG said he's back in his indie mindset. I did see that. If we see another performance like that, and I don't even really give a damn about his supporting cast because Marcus Morris has actually been playing decent. Reggie Jackson's inconsistent, but he's a great player. So I'm not really going to talk about that. What it comes down to is PG and his performance. If PG goes like he has the last 3 games and locks in for this squad and gets that 30 plus, I think he had 37 last game. If he pulls around that number again, I think they win tonight. Now, do I want that to happen? Absolutely not. I'm going to need PG to drop like 15 and shoot like 2 for 85 so that they can lose and then the Jazz can win in 7. But I don't see that happening. So biased as bias gets, I got Jazz winning tonight just for the simple fact I don't like the Clippers. And by that, I mean I want Kawhi to the Miami. But unbiased as a sports fan, I think the Clippers win tonight just because of how they've been playing. And as you mentioned, Quinn Snyder's really stubborn. But I'm not going to put, like we said about Rick Carlisle, I can't put all of the blame on Quinn Snyder. Because let's be real, the sets that would be ran right now with Conley are not being ran. We've mentioned this time and time again. Hero ball is what we're seeing, and it makes no sense. Like, it just doesn't make sense. No, they're barely running any pick and roll action. They're literally just, all right, let me come up the court. All right, 4. They'll try and draw it up and run it, and then it just doesn't go their way. So then all of a sudden, they got like 5-6 seconds left on the clock, and they'll just do a little step back and pull. And it's just, listen, it's very unfortunate. That whole Mike Conley injury really screwed them up because that's their playmaker. That's who really facilitates everything. And so trying to rely on D. Mitch, especially on a banged-up leg, to run the offense, that's not what D Mitch does. Like, sure, I guess he drops like 40-something, you know what I'm saying, a game, but to be the point guard, you know what I'm saying, that's not Donovan Mitchell. That's not Donovan Mitchell. I don't like how he plays like that. And so it's very unfortunate. Unbiased Clippers, biased Jazz tonight.
For me, I think it really comes down to who's going to be that third or fourth player on each team that steps up. Because Donovan Mitchell and Bogdanovich and Marcus Morris and PG have both had, other than the last game for Donovan Mitchell, all four of them have been playing really well this series. Bogdanovich has been getting bucket after bucket each game. Marcus Morris has been getting buckets. Paul George has been getting buckets. And so is Donovan Mitchell. So it's really going to go down to who's going to step up more. Is it going to be Joe Ingles and Jordan Clarkson and maybe Royce O'Neal? Or is it going to be Terrence Mann, Nicholas Batum, Reggie Jackson, Luke Kennard? Who's going to get the most valuable minutes from their third to fifth best players? Because really, like I said earlier, Paul George and Donovan Mitchell they've had great series. They're going to go out there and in an elimination game, they're both going to get buckets. I wouldn't be surprised if they both score 35 plus points tonight. They're kind of like, they're going to cancel each other out. And I also think that Marcus Morris and Bogdanovich are going to kind of cancel each other out too, which is why I said it's going to be between the third and fifth best players. Who's going to step up more for their team? Who's going to hit big shots? Is Joe Ingles going to be money sniper from the corner? Or are we going to see my man Reggie Jackson have another big game? Are we going to have a little vintage Reggie? Is he going to be hitting a little Bobby Shmurda dance on the free throw line? Is he going to be in his bag? I don't know, but I think he will be. I think the Clippers have the confidence that they need to win, and they've been playing with the last 3 games. There's a reason that I don't want to say blowouts because they only won by 8 last night, but they've been winning convincingly in the last 3 games. And that votes to the confidence they have, because not only did they win both games in LA, they came and they took care of business in game 5 in Utah, which was huge. The biggest game of the series was game 5 because they stole one on the road and now have the chance to put it away at home. And I think they're going to. And I'm sorry because I know you want to see Kawhi Leonard on the Heat, but I just don't see it happening because guess what? Clippers are going to put it away tonight. And guess what? The Jazz are going to be packing, and the Jazz are going to have to look themselves in the mirror next year and say, guess what? What needs to change? Whether you think – I don't even think with Mike Conley it's enough. Mike Conley makes them a better team, but I don't think with Mike Conley they have enough to even win a championship if they're playing another fully healthy squad. Because let's be real here. A fully healthy Suns team is still better than that Jazz team with Mike Conley, in my opinion. I think you can agree with that as well.
They're not. No, nobody's beating the Suns right now.
No, and I think
nobody's beating the Suns.
Obviously, a fully healthy Nets team is better than that Jazz, and a fully healthy Clippers team is better with the Jazz. Mike Conley is no excuse right now because the Clippers are playing without Kawhi Leonard. So with me, that kind of like Kawhi Leonard is a better player than Mike Conley. So the Clippers are at more of a disadvantage, but yet they're still playing better. They're still playing with that confidence. The Jazz have now had 5 games to adjust their offense without Mike Conley. I mean, no offense, but if Quinn Snyder is a good coach, he can adjust his offense without Mike Conley. Yes, the first 2 games could have been an excuse, but they won the first 2 games. They won the first 2 games without Mike Conley, and you said it, and I agreed with you. I thought if the Clippers had any chance of winning the series, they needed to win game 1 or game 2 because Mike Conley wasn't playing. But now we have Clippers up 3-2 after losing those first 2 games. I think they close it out tonight. They've got the confidence. The Jazz don't. I think the Clippers have the better role players who have been stepping up in each game they needed to, and I think we're going to see more of that tonight. And like I said, Clippers in 6.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can see it. And just like you said, it comes down to every time that Joe Ingles has a good game, Jordan Clarkson has a sluggish-ass game. So it's you're either getting production from one. Tonight, they need production from both. Or Jordan Clarkson needs to have 25, which, is obviously higher than what Joe Ingles has done this series. Because Ingles will either have 19 and then Jordan Clarkson will have 15, or Jordan Clarkson will have 25 and Joe Ingles will have like 12. So if we can get the 25 to 12 and then D. Mitch do his thing with 30-something, I think, and then obviously Bojan with about 18 to 25, I think the Utah Jazz can win tonight. It's just a matter of hitting shots. Some shots were wide open last game, and they missed opportunities on them. And at the end of the day, like with a team like Utah, they're going to live and die by that 3 because everybody on that team can shoot, minus obviously Rudy. But so, I mean, at the end of the day, like you have to live with those opportunities missed by missing those shots down the stretch, whatever the case may be. It's not a big deal. Just hopefully tonight they can come out and just start out hot. If they start out cold and sluggish, then they're going to have to, get in their bag late in the game and turn it up and, try and figure out exactly what they can do to win these ball game. But It's I don't know. I feel like this tonight should be a close game, hopefully. But I can definitely see the Clippers winning tonight because they, like you said, they do have the confidence. They've been playing lights out. They've been playing crazy the past 3 games, obviously. So with that confidence, I feel like, a lot can happen for that team and whatnot. But I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be a very interesting game tonight, at least from that perspective. Do you have anything else on the Hawks 76ers series?
No. Oh, I guess I kind of didn't mention Tobias Harris earlier because I was so pissed at how bad he played, especially after I had his back the first games, because I've always had Tobias's back because I think he's a bucket. I think he's been a bucket. He's had a couple bad games this playoffs, but I think his good games have definitely he's had more good games than bad games this playoffs by far. I can only think of maybe 1 or 2 games that he's played poorly, and then sadly it was in the last game. But I expect Tobias Harris to have a huge game, and the Sixers need him to have a huge game if they have any chance of winning tonight. Because if Tobias Harris scores another 5-point measly game, there's no chance they win tonight. 0.
All I can say about that series is, at least from the last 2 games, in order for them to win, you don't win basketball in the first 3 games. And I think we've seen that clearly.
You mean 3 quarters?
3 quarters. Sorry, yeah. You don't win basketball in the first 3 quarters that we've seen clearly from that 76ers team. They need to show up in the fourth. Well, even if it's a blowout, even if it's 20-point lead going into the fourth quarter, at that point, I honestly might even take Atlanta because we've seen this team, at least from their big 3 with Joel, Ben Simmons, and Tobias. We've seen it combined total of 1 for 15 in the last 2 games in the fourth quarter. The last game, it was 1 for 8. So are we going to see anything from that big 3 in Philly in the fourth quarter tonight? And I think that's how they win this ball game. They can be down going into the fourth by like 5 or 7. If they show up, I think I'd rather in the Philly standpoint, I think I'd rather be down going into the fourth than be up going into the fourth. Reason being, they're going to try harder, obviously, because they're down and they want to win the game than they did in the first 3 quarters. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're going to, if and only if we actually see somebody perform in the fourth quarter for the 76ers, do I think Atlanta loses. But because of the last 2 games, I don't think we are going to see that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's on Doc or whatever the case may be. But if we can just see a completely different team in the clutch down the stretch, I think, Philly can snag one tonight. But if not, I'm praying that the Hawks win. And, that's a lot of – I think you said it or Montana said it yesterday. We're seeing a very big impact when it comes to coaching. Look at what the Clippers are doing without Doc Rivers. Look at what the 76ers are struggling with Doc Rivers. Is Doc Rivers the problem? And last night, or I think it might have been 2 nights ago, they put up a picture of teams that have blown out, coaches that have blown games with tremendous leads. Doc, he was like number 1 with 26. Then he was number 2 with 21. Then he was number 3 with 17. And then he was number 5 with 15. So the fact that Doc's been on that list 4 out of 5 or 4 out of 7, whatever the list, I don't remember exactly. But the fact that he's been on that list 4 times, is that, are we going to blame the players there or are we going to blame the coaching? So I don't know if Doc is the problem. If they lose this series tonight, if they just fire his ass like the Clippers did, or if they, let Joel Embiid come to mind. But, let me stop saying that. But, so I don't know. There's just going to be some problems in Philly if they do lose tonight. But I'm hoping that Trey and everybody, comes to the A, you know what I'm saying, and hoops, because I would definitely love to see the young core and the young unit of the Atlanta Hawks advance to the Eastern Conference Finals.
No, I definitely think it's partially Doc Rivers' fault, but I'm a huge believer in the players got to play. The coach isn't on the court playing. There's 5 guys on the court for your team playing right now. And the 76ers have just it makes no sense. It looks like they almost change how they play from the first 3 quarters onto the fourth quarter. Joel Embiid needs to stop taking jump shots in that fourth quarter because guess what? That's been a huge problem for him. He's been missing jump shot after jump shot late in those games, which is why he's going 0 for in the fourth quarter, which is why he was going 0 for in that one game in the second half, because he's forcing jump shots. Go in the post and start there. Get easy buckets. No, Joel Embiid is the best center for a reason. No offense to Nikola Jokic. Joel Embiid, fully healthy, is the best center in the league, and it's because he's more dominant. No one can stop him when he's on. Give him the ball in the post. Make them double. Pass it out. Trust Seth Curry. Seth Curry's had a great series. He is a knockdown shooter. Shout out Seth, man. He's balling out for his he's been balling out for his teams the last couple of years. The last couple of years in the playoffs, Seth has put up big numbers for his teams in big games. And I expect him to do it again tonight. And I think the 76ers win here tonight because I expect Tobias Harris to have a big game. I expect Seth Curry to continue to do what he's done. He's not going to have 36 again, but he's going to have a good game. And I expect Joel Embiid to just not fall apart in that fourth quarter. All they need to do is play average basketball in the second half of these games to win. They're taking such big leads in the first half that it doesn't take anything spectacular in the second half to win. Just play average basketball and you win. You should be good enough defensively that a 24-point lead going in the half should not be blown. I'm sorry. It just shouldn't be. You're the number one seed in the East. Play like it. You're the team with the vets. You're the team with the coach that has championship experience. Play like it. The Hawks are playing with all the confidence like they have the experience. Nate McMillan, huge shout out to Nate McMillan. If he doesn't take over this team, they're not in the playoffs this year. Playing almost going into the Eastern Conference Finals, they're not in the playoffs without Nate McMillan. And Nate McMillan has gotten his boys to play. When they get down big, guess what? He hypes them up. He gets his boys ready saying, guess what? This game's not over. We can still win this. And they've proven that they can win these games even though when they're down. So I expect the Hawks to come out there and play a big game, but I'm waiting for the 76ers experience to kick in. I'm waiting for that Doc Rivers championship experience to kick in because I'm just not seeing it. An experienced team they don't blow halftime leads in general. When you're up going into the fourth quarter, experienced team win in the playoffs usually. But you're telling me an experienced team with Joel Embiid. I know you hate on Ben Simmons, but he has the playoff experience. Tobias Harris, Seth Curry, all of these guys have been in the playoffs. The Atlanta players, they haven't been. Trae Young, no. John Collins, no. Bogdanovich, really, no. None of these guys have been there. Kevin Huerter, but guess what? They're playing like they have been. They're playing with the confidence they need to win these games. And unless the 76ers can find that confidence, then they're just not going to win tonight. But I do think they do find that confidence. I think they win here in 6, and then I think they go to Philly at home, and they shut it out for their home crowd, and I think they go to the Eastern Conference Finals.
So my take on the whole experienced players thing. Some of those leads that were blown in Doc's tenure in his entire career was a part of that Clippers team. And I'm not talking about no Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. I'm talking about last year. We can easily name one, obviously, in the playoffs. Against who? Mr. Luka Doncic. So it's. Are we gonna play? Are you planning on blaming Kawhi Leonard and PG last year?
I mean, partially yes, because no, hear me out. If you're going through that Nuggets series, you're up 3-1, and let's not forget in that game 5 where they're up 3-1, I believe they were up 20 plus points in that game at one point, and they blew that game for the Nuggets to go 3-2. Then they blew it and lost in 7. You can blame coaching all you want, but when your superstars are like that, like when you have Kawhi Leonard, when you have Paul George, you shouldn't blow a 3-1 series lead. Yes.
So what does that come down to?
It's coaching and the players. I think a lot of it, Doc Rivers sadly has blown multiple 3-1 leads. Doc Rivers has blown not even just series leads, but huge leads in individual games as well. So I think he deserves a lot of the blame, but not all of it. Because like I said, he's not out there playing for them. He's not out there missing shots. Joel, think about it. Even though the Sixers fell apart in that second half, Joel Embiid had 2 free throws at the end of the game to tie it. And what does he do? Choke. He bricks them both. Obviously, he misses the second one probably on purpose because they want to get the ball in. But I'm not even sure he missed it on purpose. I was just watching it. It didn't look like he really changed how he shot the free throw. He just choked. He missed the free throws down the line, and he's not even a bad free throw shooter. It's Ben Simmons who's notorious for missing these clutch free throws. So, like, as a coach, you like in the NBA, you don't teach free throws and layups. These are things that are expected to be known. And I've seen twice now. I'm just going to come at Joel Embiid. I'm a fan of him, but I'm going to come at him right now. I'm going to challenge him. I've seen 2 games in a row. He's had the chance to take the lead or tie it with under 30 seconds left, and he is folded. He's missed bunnies. He's missed free throws. It's called a free throw for a reason. It's the charity stripe. It's supposed to be free. It's supposed to be easy buckets for you, easy points. And I've just seen him choke. People want to hate on Ben Simmons. People want to hate on Doc Rivers and the rest of that team. But Joel Embiid has not been clutch in these games. He's had good 3 quarters of basketball, like you said, but he has not shown up in the 4th quarters of these games, and that's been huge for them. He's their best player. Ben Simmons aside, he is their superstar. He is the number 1 player on this team, and he needs to say, guess what? Those losses are on me. Whether they're all on him or not, he needs to say, guess what, guys? I need to make that layup to take the lead in game. I believe it was game 4. I need to make those free throws at the end of game 5. I need to be that guy that you expect me to be, and he just hasn't been. He needs to be clutch. Joel Embiid needs to be clutch for them to win games, and in the last 2 games, we just haven't seen that.
I mean, look, I wasn't going to go on another rant, you know what I'm saying, on Joel, because I did that yesterday. And do I feel bad? Absolutely not. But look, Joel has disappeared, like you said, in that 4th quarter. And I think, yes, it's a complete blame on the players. I was trolling Doc Rivers just because, again, I don't like Doc Rivers. But look, at the end of the day, like, for your players, with, like I said yesterday, 4 minutes and 17 seconds left in that clock, you were just up and you blew the lead. And for nobody to score a single point, from Seth missing shots, from Joel Embiid missing those free throws, to him going 0 for 4 in the last 6 minutes, from the 1 3-pointer and the 3 layups that he missed, bro, it's a very weird situation to be in, because you can look at those stats, and if you didn't watch the game, you'd be like, damn, somebody help Joel Embiid out. Damn, Seth Curry, bro, you had a great game. No. I don't look at those points and be like, damn, you had a great game. No, you didn't. I guess you had a great first 3 quarters, but where it matters the most, which is the 4th quarter, you didn't. You had a horrible, in my eyes, that's a horrible game. You don't win games, like I said earlier, by winning the first 3 quarters. You win it by winning the game. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes if the games are close, where do you win it the most? 4th quarter. What happened? 40-19 in that quarter. The Atlanta Hawks. In that 4th quarter. That just can't happen. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable, especially with the lead that they had. And so, if we haven't seen, if we don't see Seth Curry, if we don't see Ben Simmons, if we don't see Tobias Harris, if we don't see Joel Embiid, like we have not seen the last 2 games, then I think they lose and it's over with. And who is to blame? I guess the players at that point, because you've had too many opportunities and you've sold each and every one of them. And so I don't know if maybe Doc is babying them. Maybe he's babying them and he's like, look, we're upset. It's okay, on to the next one. That could be something. We don't know what's being said in the locker room. We don't know if it's like, it's okay, guys. We missed shots, da-da-da-da-da. Like maybe he's just babying their asses and just like trying to just calm them down. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I think, even though they have absolutely no playoff experience, minus Clint Capella, I think Trae Young and them boys hoop, especially in their MLK jerseys tonight in the A. You know what I'm saying? With everybody out there. If they have to come back, I think they come back and win this bit, because at this point, I'm not confident in Joel Embiid or any of those people, at least from the last 2 games. So they better prove to me something, or else I'm going to happily accept my fate of Atlanta Hawks in 6.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that's all that needs to say. Who's going to step up tonight? I feel like Atlanta is going to do what they've done in the last couple games. They're going to play a decent basketball. They're not going to turn the ball over. They're going to value the mistakes of the 76ers, and they're going to capitalize off of him. That's what we've seen a lot of. I mean, giving up or only scoring 19 points in the fourth quarter is a joke anyways.
Yeah.
But to give up 40 is even worse. If I'm the 76ers and I'm watching film of that game, I say, guess what, guys? You take away the missed shots, those are going to happen, but you can't do that defensively. You cannot give up 40 points in a quarter that you're winning going into. Not if you want to win any series, you don't. And now that they've done it twice, I mean, we can continuously go on and on about what the 76ers are doing wrong. And I keep saying the 76ers are the better team. They're going to come out. They're going to win the games. But they just haven't been winning those games. They haven't been playing well in the fourth quarter. And unless they can get it together tonight, the A is going to be bumping. You know that. I know that. Trae Young's going to be bumping tonight. I expect a huge game from him. So can the 76ers come and quiet that crowd? Can we see them shush the crowd? Can we see a big game from Tobias Harris? Maybe from Ben Simmons. Probably not. Maybe from Joel Embiid. Who knows? We're going to find out tonight. I think the 76ers finally have a complete game. I think they win it here. They shut up the haters, and then they go home and win it in 7.
Last thing, and then we can just wrap it up. They will not shut me up even if they win tonight. I don't care, bro. No, I don't care. They will not shut me up, but I respect your state on that. But other than that, we're just gonna wrap it up there. That was a great show. Thank you for everybody that is listening. We appreciate you guys. You know what I'm saying? Feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow, subscribe on Spotify and Apple. Leave us a rating. We would appreciate any type of feedback. And yeah, Blake, where can they find you?
They can find me at Blake Spillers on Instagram and Twitter.
You guys can find me, Rabbit FL, everywhere, all social medias. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier, Unspoken Rules Pod on Instagram, Unspoken Rule Pod on Twitter. And then obviously, if you're found us on Spotify or Apple, you already know. And if you found us on YouTube, it's just Unspoken Rules as well. But again, we appreciate you guys. We love you all. We hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And it's been your boys over here at Unspoken Rules, and we're out.
Yes, sir. See you next time.